Do not let anybody else tell you it's not that simple, because it is. In this video, I'm going to show you how we landed our first midterm rental insurance contract, what it took to get it, what the numbers were, and most importantly, how you can do it too. My name is Ruben Kanya. I'm a temporary housing specialist where I helped multiple investors across the nation land the most lucrative contracts to be able to accommodate families who are displaced due to unforeseen events. It keeps more dollars in their pocket and less turnovers, unlike the Airbnb world. Now, that is the world that I came from, and I want to definitely let you know that it is a world that I still dabble in, but I don't have to as much because of this opportunity that I come across. However, I'm always still building my business on the foundation of short-term rentals. So how did I land my first midterm rental insurance contract, and why I didn't jump through hoops to do it? I just followed the process, and often we make things more complicated than they need to be. And let's also remember that sometimes we want things to be on our time and not the time of the marketplace. You ready? So here's how I did it. First, I got education, which is important. The fact that you're watching this, big kudos. And if you want to continue watching this, I want to make sure that obviously there's tons of videos on this channel, so make sure you hit that subscribe button. But most importantly, getting educated was one thing, but the first thing that we did, and believe it or not, I had actually missed our first inquiry, is we simply went where the traffic was going. Let me say that one more time. We went where the traffic was already going and existing. Sometimes, folks want to, build their own websites and build it and they will come. That is not necessarily the case, right? And what you need to do is understand where your ideal client is, right? Just like I'm recording this video right now, there's a good chance I didn't have to record an ad to get you to watch this because you have interest about this topic. So you were already going to look for it anyway. And I happened to come across or deliver the content that hopefully that you're looking for. And therefore I got in your way, in a positive way, of the traffic, of the flow that you are going into. And so what this means for us in this world, it means that there are multiple companies out there that are looking to relocate families nationwide. And the reason they're looking to relocate these families nationwide is because these families have overcome, or have encountered, I should say, an unforeseen event. And when they do encounter this unforeseen event, because they're policyholders and they have insurance policies, what happens is they then file a claim. And once they file a claim, that company, who again does business with, whether it's State Farm, Allstate, or any insurance company that you can think of, call it Geico if you will, they partner with these companies to find housing for their displaced policyholders in bulk. Now, these companies are already looking. Now the question is, where are they looking? Well, I'll tell you where they looked, and it was exactly how we got, my wife and I, our first midterm rental insurance contract. It was because we went where they were looking. Now, where were they looking, or do they look, and do they always look at the same place? The answer is no. They don't always look at the same place. They look at multiple places. But I'll start off with the one that actually worked, because I speak not theory, I speak facts, I speak what we do, I speak what we've done, and therefore have always the opportunity to be able to give you exactly how it works, not some theory that I think works, right? I think that's really important, always for context. With that said, what we ended up doing was putting our property on multiple platforms. One of those platforms was alesolutions.com. alesolutions.com is one of the biggest relocation agencies out there that work with multiple insurance providers. And by just simply, again, no photos required, address, details, submit, and then we forgot about it. And lo and behold, we actually got an email during our honeymoon, which I completely missed because I was completely unplugged, about that inquiry, which we did not close on in time. But just to show that it works, we got another inquiry again, right? following. Again, your timing might change. This is where people get so hung up. Oh, I haven't heard anything. I submitted it yesterday. Didn't happen yesterday. For us, it took us about a couple months.
If you're currently getting value from watching this video, you'll want to make sure you take a second and click below to grab the midterm rental insurance blueprint to help accelerate your process in being able to land these midterm rental insurance contracts with respect to your marketplace. Make sure you click the button below and grab it and continue on with the gems in this video.
It took me a month after I had really applied it to all the properties, but I had heard of this database and I put it in there. And then a couple months after, I got an email. I think I had gotten an email pretty right away, but I didn't see it because of the honeymoon, right? And then so after the fact, it was a separate email and it came from the same group, right? That was how we landed our first. Now we named our terms. The terms were high. Originally, I think the terms were $79.50 on a home that had a $2,000 overhead mortgage, without including utilities, etc. We're taking home about $5,000 a month, and that ended up extending for the next 8 months. And that was where the big moment happened, because we had, literally netted over 40,000. It was a more actually closer to 45 to 50,000, because it went up to like 9 or 10 months net of income on one property. And that's when it really hit, hey, I don't need 100 doors. I don't need a dozen doors. I don't need a crazy amount of doors to make, again, a great amount of revenue and I should say profit, because a lot of people talk revenue. I like to talk profit. What am I keeping in my pocket? And the reason I'm revisiting this was years ago, is because sometimes we often make things more complicated than they need to be. I think if you're in this ecosystem, you're like, I gotta do all these bells and whistles. I'm gonna do some marketing. I'm gonna go do some cold calling, etc. And absolutely you can, but always ask yourself the question: where do they exist today, right? For those of you, if you're somebody who's, I don't like short-term rentals, I don't want to be on Airbnb, that is a place where they go. Multiple companies go there. So when you go there, why don't you tweak your listing and tweak your copy and tweak your profile to speak to those companies? What would they want to see? Now that goes back to marketing 101, focusing on the pain point versus the desire first. You always focus on the pain point first. Here's what you're not going to have to worry about. You're not going to have to worry about not having flexible extensions. You're not going to have to worry about me booking someone else after your stay. You're not going to have to worry about, these are all the things you should be listing of, here's why you should work with us, and here's what you should not be worried about. And then here's how I can address your immediate concerns, timely responses, flexible rates, flexible extensions, right? Now you lean into the desire. But first and foremost, you get in the way of the traffic, the incoming traffic. It's important that you open up that door to start getting business, and it can be that simple as putting in your property in a database, right place, right time, right reach out, big proposal, right? Large proposal, respectful proposal. We're not talking about price gouging proposal. We're saying a proposal that meets the needs of the marketplace with respect to the amount of the issues that you're solving, with respect to the pets, if they're coming in, etc., monthly cleans, and whatever it is you need to do to assure that you're taken care of as a homeowner who's taking on the risk of, again, having a shorter term stay. Now, it's a risk, but it's not really a risk. I'm just highlighting it as that's the prize and the sell within the marketplace that you need to have. It's you're willing to take on someone which would be for a shorter stay, which again is going to not be as secure, for lack of a better words, as someone who's staying for 12 months, and that's why you're paying them a premium. Or if you're going to the busy season, you're charging a premium for that, because your alternative would be short-term rentals, and it's your busy season. Just let's remember that our prices are always dynamic. Don't get hung up on what you're putting into those portals. They'll always ask you what the price is, but that is how we started, y'all. And then that is just the foundation. Now, what got you there won't take you there, right? So if you're trying to scale to something bigger, is it just sitting in portals? No. Then we learned how to foster relationships. We learned how to cater to their needs. We learned how to always find a solution, so that anytime they came back to us, there was a reason for them to come back to us, for us to be resourceful, for us to have multiple operators that we've connected with, for us to have the right follow-up sequences to assure that they're keeping us top of mind, creating some initiatives around partnerships and in building our brand, and now doing an outreach and they know our brand to, over time these things happen, but in the beginning it can be that simple. Do the fundamentals, master the fundamentals, then you can get cute and fancy. But when you start shooting from the hip and you start doing different things that haven't worked out or are not a proof of concept, and you're saying, "Hey, why haven't I gotten a result yet?" You're setting yourself back, right? So master the foundation. There's more than one database. Get in front of all of them. That is the lowest hanging fruit if you're going to do anything. And the good news is there's more that I've never even heard of that you can even search and be there and exist where they're going to be looking, because the relocation specialists are looking in their database and other places or other places. So you want that and or to always have your brand's name on it. So the and you're looking in their database, or you end up being in their inbox, or you end up being on Airbnb, or. Omnipresence is key, and make sure that you have that omnipresence so that your brand can always stay top of mind, because it's not about who you know, it's also about who knows you. If you get value from this video, make sure you check out my video called Why You Should List Your Mid-Term Rental Property on Airbnb.